Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where in the world you are, and of course, what time of day or night it is either. Welcome to the podcast Up on the Edge with Al and Owen. I'm your host, Alan Neild, Big Al, or just Al, whatever you want to call me. And each week, I'm going to be joined by regular co-host Owen Sherratt and other special guests along the way too. Right, let's get right into it. This is the podcast Up on the Edge. Fly me to the moon. Let me swim amongst the stars. Scooby Dooby Dooby Doo on Jupiter and Mars.
How you doing, baby?
In other words, da da da. Cha,
Hey,
cha,
so I love that big Al music there.
How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I had a busy day today.
What you been up to?
I've been working in Preston, believe it or not, fitting a boiler.
All right.
It was cold there, mate. -3.
Hey, you know what the best thing out of Preston is, don't you?
The M61.
The M61, mate. Straight back to home. What's that all about?
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
actually, in fairness, they do have a there's a nice little diving spot there called Eccleston Delph, and it's an old quarry. Yeah. Ecky Delph. And it's all right for a dive. It's a bit cold at this time of year, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. But you'll be all right. You're about them rubber suits, aren't you?
Yeah. It's fine. I get a bit buoyant. That's the only problem.
Why? Jumping in it makes it inflate. Is that what it is?
There's a lot of rubber on me. That's what it is, mate.
That's not the first time, though, mate.
Yeah, I look like the what do they call it?
The Michelin Man.
The Michelin. Well, there was the Michelin Man or the Pillsbury Doughboy. You remember
the Stay Puft Monster off Ghostbusters.
Yeah, exactly.
You got anyone of three? I do, mate.
So yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I've had a couple of days off work, so I've been doing editing for the podcast and one thing and another. You know,
what's days off work like, Al? Come on, tell me.
Busy. Normally.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Yeah, because
I was talking to my sister. She's travelled up the east coast of Australia. She's in She's gone to Port Douglas, her and my brother-in-law, and they were saying it's 39 degrees, and it's the rainy season, and it's so humid, it's ridiculous. Yeah. So I had about an hour on the phone to them, on a call to them yesterday, day before. That was really good. It's always great to catch up with John, my brother-in-law, because he's very business-minded, and he sees things, and and I'm going, this isn't working, and that's not working. He goes, well, have you tried that? I go, oh no, it's like, just do it, dickhead.
That's the thing, isn't it? I'm hopeless with all this computer technology stuff.
Right.
It's a bit scary. So for me anyway. But
one of the things I've been thinking about was getting a product placement on. To sort of get some revenue in on one thing and another. But I'm not sure how we'd go about it.
Are you not? Not in the slightest.
No.
So it's amazing, isn't it? The things you've got, and I've got nothing. I'll tell you what, though, I'm a bit smelly tonight. Just let me have a...
Oh, really?
I'm going through the bin here, by the way, and my hair could do with a wash.
Oh, but... I'm actually surprised that you do that, because I'll be brutally honest, and I do wash this.
I know, yeah.
But I just use soap. So when I'm in the shower, I just soap it down. That's all I do.
Do you know what? I love those in. I've always had, from a kid, when it used to come out the tear-shaped bottle, and the only reason it was in the tear-shaped bottle is if you got in your eyes, you really scratched.
You
cried like a baby.
That's it.
Because it stung. It's worse than getting bits of iron filings off a grinder in your face. And but yeah, no, it's bad. But I love it. I love the smell of it and everything. You just feel really clean afterwards.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. I got one of the girls that used to work alongside me. Shall I give her a shout out?
Yeah, go on, give her a shout out.
Natalie. Natalie Watson Grime, I call her, because she's not called Watson, but her other half is, and Grime is a part of the family she doesn't want to be associated with, so that's why I call her. And she takes baths with Dettol in it.
Now, I've heard that before.
Dettol? What's that?
Yeah, just a couple of drops of Dettol, not so you smell of Dettol, but just enough. It's just, I don't know whether it's something that, as a baby.
I'd rather them smell like an always handbag, mate, than stinking Dettol, if I'm being brutally honest. Listen, we've got somebody trying to get in.
Have we? Let him in.
Who have we got?
Is it the legendary Rob Charles knocking at our door?
Is it the legendary? Oh, look at that look at suave, sophisticated young man there.
Look at that microphone. He's trying to connect to the audio.
Yeah, he's not got his. Oh, there we go. It's just kicked in now.
Is it?
Hey,
I do, Rob. You're right, pal.
I'm fine. Can you hear me loud and clear now? I've got this microphone, but I don't think this is working.
No, it's working. It's beautiful. Now, for those who don't know, I grew up in Manchester, and one of the early experiences of listening to radio, once it become a bit more than just local radio, become really local radio. There was a station which for years was a pirate station called KFM. And I used to love in Manchester.
I didn't know
they were based in Stockport, funny enough. They went on to become Signal Cheshire.
Right.
Which I worked there for a little while before getting sacked, believe it or not. And I used to listen to a guy called Rob Charles. Now,
That's a few years ago now, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But if you go on YouTube, you can see the video. And I love watching that video because when I worked there, the studios were exactly the same.
Really?
The same layout and everything. And as you look in the studio, there was, remember rightly, towards the left, there was like a window. And then there was a big telly with CFAX on it.
Right? CFAX.
And a remote. So you've got to get news or the weather. You got it off the CFAX.
Is that where you got it all from?
This is cutting technology. And we had a turntable and CD players and carts.
What happened?
Do you remember CFAX?
Yeah, brilliant.
When you wanted a holiday, you had to go and book it on CFAX. But if it missed the page, you had about another 232 pages.
That's right. Waiting for hours for it to come through. So this is a guy that it's weird. If you're a bit of radio anorak, you'll know Rob. If you don't, and you're not really into radio, you'll recognise his voice. Is the voice of, remember, it was Rock FM you've worked at?
Rock FM, yeah. That was in the 90s. In fact, when I left KFM, I think it was Signal Cheshire when I left.
Yeah, I think it just turned over to Signal Cheshire, hadn't they, when you were there. Then you went to Rock FM. You've worked at Central. Was it the B you were at in Lancaster?
I was at the B, yeah. I think between KFM, though, I think I worked at Stoke for the Signal Radio in Stoke as well. Because I think they all lined up and all sort of networked the shows. So I had to go to Stoke and broadcast back to Signal Cheshire.
Was that about the same time that the wonderful dulcet tones of Brendan Kearney was there as well?
Brendan Kearney, I think he was later. I think when I left to go to Rock FM, he was there later, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And this is like 92, isn't it?
So
it's going back.
Yeah, you'll know John Evington as well, I'm sure.
I know John Evington, yeah.
But I also noticed, and this is one thing that really, because I've known you for about 11 or 12 years now.
Yeah.
And I remember I was driving into Pure Radio in Stockport to do the football show. And he heard this voice, and I thought, I know that voice. And I was dead excited. I fell down the stairs. I was dead excited to get to the studio to say hello. And there was Rob in all his glory. I tell you.
Was this in the? There was a mill there, wasn't there, in Stockport? They used to have the station in a mill. Was that?
That was the Pirate KFM. Yeah, the Pirate Goit Mill.
KFM. Yeah, right. That was at Goit Mill. Yeah, but no, this was in. It's like a Shore Start block, wasn't it? Which it was funded by Stockport Council, privately funded it too. But it was their community radio. But it was really well run, a very professional setup, and of course Rob was there, and it was brilliant. And it was just they say don't meet your heroes, but I'd say I met Rob, and from the moment I met him, what a top guy.
Do you know,
absolute gentleman.
Thank you.
He doesn't get. You'll get to talk in a minute. He doesn't get. The 3 radio presenters on the same thing. Seriously, there's going to be nobody.
Who's going to get him first?
Yeah, he doesn't get starstruck by just anybody. He just gets starstruck by radio presenters, which is really, really strange.
Do you know what, Rob? You're up there with Phil Wood. That's how high you are. You are up there with Phil Wood.
Well, Phil Wood's I think he's in another sort of category. He's further up, isn't he? He's a Kenny Everett sort of style, Phil Wood.
Well, he worked with Kenny for a while. Yeah, he's a god, but you're up there with him.
Well, that's nice.
And another thing I found out, just simply by stalking your Facebook.
Shut up, let him talk. Have you heard yourself? Have you been to a snore party before you've come on tonight? Is that what it is?
It's still in my tash. But I've seen pictures of you on Radio Caroline as well.
No.
Yeah, well, it was weird because we're going back to KFM. I did KFM probably 1981, 82. To get into radio, I did a hospital radio at Wythenshawe Hospital, which is called Fab Radio, which is the F and the A and the B wards. So that's how they got Fab. And he had used to have a little pond outside Wythenshawe Hospital. But that's completely gone now, because last time I saw Wythenshawe Hospital was about 5 years ago. And that's another story I'll tell you in just a moment. But it's all been extended, hasn't it? Wythenshawe Hospital is massive now. Huge. So from there, there was a pirate radio station in Stockport called KFM Radio. And a fellow by the name of Charles Turner and Steve Toon, who I still talk to this day. I meant to met them in a pub. It was like a secret sort of, you meet them in pubs. And the Radio Caroline, I met him in a pub. I'll tell you that as well, if I can get a word in. But
it's all yours now. It's all yours.
So I went to work for KFM. It was a pirate station. We were in Hillgate. And we used to have like a curtain, because the reason I had the curtain was the transmitter was behind this curtain. It made a really loud noise. So it was a pirate station. But on a Saturday, I used to do a Saturday night, and there used to be a pub called the Brookfield on the A6. And I used to get in there by saying, I've come to see Al Rockwell. Do you know who Al Rockwell is?
No idea.
Al Rockwell was the American voice of the party song from, what's the one where they all dress up in fancy women's clothes?
Come on, Al, you'll know this.
Should be, shouldn't I? Why me?
It's a well-known musical. It's gone out of my head though. It completely.
The Rocky Horror.
The Rocky Horror Show. There was a song, wasn't it, by Damien?
Yes,
there was the Time Warp. And Al Rockwell, who I used to work at the pirate station, he was the American voice who does Time Warp, the American voice.
Right.
So we worked there as a pirate station, and we moved to Goyt Mill, still as a pirate, but the studio was just like you get studios now. Radio studio. It's just unbelievable, the amount of money that we're making, KFM, in the day. And then, of course, I think Piccadilly Radio had a sort of word with the IBA at the time. So they took us off, and then it came back on in another style on an AM frequency. But I'd left by then, because I went to work for a station called The Voice of Peace in Israel. And then when I came back from the Israel, about 86, I met up with a fella called Ronan O'Reilly, who was the man who set up Radio Caroline. So I had to go and meet him on the King's Road in London. And he called me a sophisticated northerner. He says, "You're a sophisticated northerner, you." So, and then he said, "Right, well, what we'll do, if you want to go to Radio Caroline," he said, "we'll give you a call. It'll probably be just out in January, sometime in January." It was January the 1st. They phoned me up and said, "I need to get on a train, meet me at Euston at 10 o'clock. And back in the 80s, train stations used to shut at 10 o'clock. That was it. So I got there, and I'm thinking, is this sort of a wind-up? Because I'm stood out there in Euston Square, and there's nobody there. It's about 10:30. Yeah. This car pulls up. A fella gets out and says, "Are you Rob?" Says, "Yeah." So come in the car. So sat in the car, Ronan O'Reilly. Then they took us off to somewhere on the East Coast. So we had to get a tender out to go to Radio Caroline. But
it's some bloke in about
3 days. It's what? Sorry,
it's some bloke in about.
Yeah,
come on, you'll be all right.
It'd have been quicker for you to get to Israel, wouldn't it? Than it would be to get to
Caroline. That's ridiculous. And I think from that Radio Caroline, then I went to work for the Voice of Peace in Israel, Tel Aviv.
So I've got to ask you the question then. Radio Caroline, they did sort of like a spoof film a few years ago called The Boat That Rocked.
Absolutely, and that mixer that you see is the actual mixer from the Radio Caroline.
Really? And how close is the shenanigans that went on that boat on the film? How close is it to real life?
We didn't get tenders coming out of little boats with loads of women on. That would have been good. That'd have still been on
January anyway. Jeez.
Saturday night.
Yeah. Saturday night on a boat.
But it was weird because it had a 50 kilowatt transmitter. And I think Radio 1 was on about 20. And so you're thinking like 50 kilowatts. And this was like the mass. They used to go all over Europe.
Yeah.
And one of the engineers said, if you stand by that, you won't have any kids.
Is it true, though?
I had 3 later, so that was a load of But we used to get one of the lights, the fluorescent lights. You could stand there just holding it, and it would lit up because the power from the transmitter was just that big. But the 3 kids later, it didn't have any effect on me whatsoever. But that was great times.
They've all got switches, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There was more cases of Tourette's came off that boat that you can shake a stick at. I don't know. Why radio, Rob? What enticed you in the first place?
It was just a fascination of what's coming out of that little speaker and playing music and thinking, well, that's a great living to be made, and I won't mind a part of that. And and then it's weird because me nana used to be a cleaner at BBC Radio Derby, and that sort of got me in the bug. Yeah. And she used to come home with all these songs in a bag. So there you go, they're throwing these out. And I remember there was a song called Shell Shock by a group called Sad Cafe.
Yeah.
I thought this was like before I heard of Sad Cafe. I think, and I didn't realize that they were actually from Wythenshawe. And the strange thing is, it's weird in things in life now, they all connect.
Yeah.
My dad had a bakery, and it was in Wythenshawe. And just around the corner, Paul Young from Sad Cafe lived, and he used to come in to the shop. And then it's just like weird. It's
not realise it was him at first.
No, but it's like in future years. I went to see Sad Cafe a couple of times at the Manchester Apollo. But when I was saying my nana was at BBC Radio Derby, she used to come and I'm thinking, I want to work at Radio Derby. Well, obviously I never did, because I used to send audition tapes from her address to BBC Radio Derby, thinking if I live in the area, I'll probably get the job, but never did.
No, never works that way. They had them gigs to get, aren't they? The BBC. Best paying ones, apparently.
But it's just, I've always wanted to do it. And it's one of my heroes, like Kenny Everett, and to meet like Kenny Everett. And back to the hospital radio, I actually wrote a letter to him and said, any chance you could do some jingles? So he sent a little piece of, like a reel-to-reel, 7-inch reel in an envelope. And it wrote on like silver pen, don't tell everybody because they'll all want one of these.
Really?
And I played it, and it was like these vocoder jingles. So he went out of his way purposely and made these jingles. And I'm thinking, wow. And if you get somebody to do them today, they'll be well expensive. But he also sent me another reel-to-reel tape. And on the reel-to-reel tape was the very first series of Captain Kremen. And it wasn't until future years I'm thinking, this is Captain Kremen. This is the first series. So I put them on eBay.
Did you sell it? Yeah.
Cheers, Kenny.
Sold it. I was selling. I was making quite a little bit of a living making these CDs. And then I got a thing off Capital Radio. Could you please take them off? It's the property of Capital Radio. So I stopped it then. But yeah. If anybody wants a copy.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
But yeah, Kenny Everett was my hero. And I always used to think that, like you said earlier, Owen, never meet your heroes. And I met one of my heroes was a fella called Emperor Roscoe. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
The American guy, yeah.
And he was one of my heroes. And I remember when my dad had the bakery, he used to go to Macro and get all the sort of like flour and stuff like that and stuff to sell in his shop. And they used to have like a little album section. So I saw this album, I thought, Emperor Roscoe. And the album, I thought if I move my camera, I don't know if you can see that. Can you, the top wall there? Oh, it's different camera.
Different camera.
I'll move my computer. I've got that many cameras. I don't know if you
know what you were doing. There you go.
But up on the wall,
Beatles.
right in the top.
Oh, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Is the Emperor Roscoe album. And he played at Wembley Arena. And he played to about 50,000 people. And he was playing soul music. So he got me into soul music as well in a big way. And when I met him in Liverpool about 3 years ago. And I took the album along and he signed it. He'd love to see it. He said, oh, yeah, this is what I used to look like. And this is how many fans I used to get. But I think that those days have all gone now, haven't they, for the highlights of radio?
I think they have, really,
yeah.
I mean, I'm like you, Rob. I got into it because it was a fascination. And for me, it was the radiogram in the living room. And it'd sit between the two speakers either side. And it's in the early 70s, it'd be Pete Baker on Piccadilly, Phil Sayer even. And Andy Peebles and all them. We sort of think, and of course, Dave Ward at night, flashing your lights on and off. It was interactive. It's just totally interactive, and it's brilliant. And it's just like I say, growing up, I'd listen to you on KFM, then I'd listen to you on Signal, and obviously I'd still pick you up on Rock FM as I got old and things like that. And it was just great to actually meet you. Sorry, I'm gushing a bit here. I'm sorry.
At least you realise it now.
Yeah, because face to face, I just cuddle you, and it's simple as that. But and then obviously to find out you like from within shows up the road from where I live in Longside and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just great because you're just such a nice fella as well. And and
I do it, and I've loved doing it. I do these stations now, and I do it just for the love of it, to be honest. Because it's just I love being on the radio, and it's. Times have changed, radio's changed, it's all networks, it's all from London. But recently I've had an opportunity to do a couple of stations, do one in Spain, and I do this other one, which I started a couple of weeks ago. But it's just a fascination. I just love it. I mean, in fact, I would say I've got Emperor Roscoe up on my wall there because he's a hero.
Yeah.
Are you finding things with lockdown and of course, like you say, all the stations are getting network now and one thing or another, and it's soul destroying to a certain extent.
It is, yeah.
How are you finding things?
I'm fine. Well, since lockdown, the first one, I've been quite successful because somebody said to me, well, your radio show, I was doing a station in Southport called Mighty Radio, and the program controller there, Paul Tasker, said, why don't you syndicate your show? It was just a recorded show. So it was this show called Songs That Don't Get Played in the Radio. Because I get sick and tired of hearing the same songs played over and over and over again. So I thought, right, okay, I'll do this show. And I get more response now on some stations I've worked at through emails coming through. So I love that song. Any chance you could play this one? And that, to me, what radio is all about. It's like entertaining, but entertaining and making you think, oh, I've not heard this for ages.
Yeah.
And that makes me love radio. I think that's all the beauty of radio is. But when you get like the hearts and your things, like you're thinking, you only played this about 3 hours ago.
That's it.
You say you watch it, can't you? Because it's funny, if you get a chance to see Rob on YouTube at this station at KFM, you'll see him, and in the, I think it's on for about 8 minutes, something like that. But in 8 minutes, there's obviously different sections of your time on there. Number of times, say, give us a call, and you say the number out, and you actually pick the phone up. And I always remember that. That being one of the best things of work, especially at night time, apart from the odd mither pick you up, then you put your phone out and then ring again.
And your regulars, don't you have your regular calls? Yeah.
But you always get somebody phone once a week, something. Hey, you all right? And just ask how you are. And it was great. And I obviously, for me, I loved late night radio.
That makes all the difference, though. The late night radio, when you get the callers ringing in and they genuinely just want to have a conversation with you, not a gushy one like you have with Rob, but
obviously,
a conversation. Sorry, couldn't help it. But a conversation where they're genuinely interested in something that's going on, or they want to tell you. We used to have one that used to phone Revolution all the time. Ian, alcoholic. And he'd phone up and apologise that he'd not called for a couple of weeks because he'd fallen off the wagon and he was just drunk all the time. And he'd tell you about his mum who was poorly, who sort of looked after him. But the thing is, he's like, now, 20 years later, I'm still going, I wonder how Ian is. I wonder if he's
Yeah.
And what about stalkers? Did you get stalkers, Rob?
We did. We used to have one called Raving Mad Abby.
Right. Thought to us, I might know her.
And the weird thing was, when I left KFM and Signal Cheshire and I went to work for Rock FM, there used to be we used to do on a Saturday at KFM, we used to go out and about and go into like various pubs or marketplaces and just get out and about in the TSA of the area. So we used to have Raving Mad Abby, and then we had one character who came he used to have a black cloak, black sort of coat, black trousers. And he changed his name by deed poll.
It wasn't me.
Like the black shirt, by the way, Al.
Thank you. I put this on just for you.
He changed his name. And I can't remember. It's like an old character. You see, with the memory, you're getting older now. The memory sort of goes.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was an old, like, not Frankenstein, but Dracula character. And he changed his name by deed poll to this name. And on Rock FM, I've been doing breakfast for about 2 weeks, and the newsreader read this story out about this fella from Stockport, and he murdered somebody. and I saw like stunned, like I'm thinking, what?
Yeah.
And it was this fella that used to follow me around, and I'm thinking, God, how close was that?
Yeah.
And we tried to get Raving Mad Abby and this fella
hooked together. Yeah, you could have been sort of like, what do they call it? Aid and abetting to a murder or something like that. Yeah. We had one when I was doing the evening show at the Revolution when I first started, which is, I don't know, 99, 2000, something like that. And she used to send a photograph of a different part of her body every night to me. She used to, honest to God. So it was like a collage of a body. And there was nothing left to be imagined, you know what I mean? And this one particular Christmas, it was sort of quite entertaining, I suppose, for a while. And then I got took off and put on daytime. And the Christmas, that same Christmas, I got a card through the post. We all used to get cards, didn't we? And one thing and another. But it was a photograph of this same girl. And she was dressed in, I was talking about the Rocky Horror Show before. Well, that's how she was dressed. So she had the basque on. She had the knickers and the suspenders. She had the fishnet tights on. She had the 6-inch high heels on, and a whip in her hand. And it just said, "Merry Christmas, Big Al. Look what you're missing." And then you opened it up, and there was a message basically saying, if there's anything that I needed or anything, her husband was quite happy for it to happen.
Because he could see through the wardrobe door.
So, but the other thing is the actual card stunk of smoke. So she must have been a smoker.
Well, going back to the cards thing, that's what I miss as well, because when I worked on Magic in Preston, when it was my birthday, I used to get like cards with money in. And the Pro Control, like, happy birthday, Rob, have a drink on me. And it was like 10 or 15 pounds.
Really?
And I used to get them up until working for the Bee. I'd left the Bee in 2015, and the station manager said, "Oh, we've got a parcel here for you." And it was from this lady, and she sent me like a massive parcel on his birthday. There's drinks in there, another card once she gave me money. And well, that's the thing with it was loyalty, to the radio station.
Yeah.
And he didn't know everybody, but there's certain people that was like one big family. And then certain people, program controllers, would say it's not a family. It's just don't speak to them and all that. But I think that's part of the beauty of radio. Because some people don't have anything else in their life. It's just the radio now.
No, but that's the thing, you see, with radio as it was, which you very rarely get nowadays, is if you're talking on air, and you think you mentioned this in the past now, when you speak to them, the person on the other end listening, you've got to make them feel like you're talking to them.
Absolutely.
People, just to that one person. And I mean, and that's the beauty, especially at night for me, because I've never been over. I've done breakfast on cover RSLs and things and drive time, but for me, it's always been late night radio, and it's more because people sit down to listen. It's not in the background; it's there, and for a lot of people, it's company.
Absolutely.
The way it was always explained to me, it was Penky actually that sort of twigged it with me, and that was what he said. The difference between sort of nighttime radio and daytime and breakfast shows. Nighttime, the people are with you; they will stay with you for the duration of the journey.
Yeah,
that happens. Daytime is it's usually on in the background, the radio. So it's that was, this is, thank you, this is coming next. And breakfast, you tend to get people in sort of 30-minute slots, maybe an hour maximum, as they travel to work. And then those people go and a new set come in. So it's like a conveyor belt of people coming. So you can actually get away with doing a same feature twice almost in a breakfast show, because
that's what I do now. I do on this all oldies radio. I'll do a talkie bit at 7:15, then I'll do it again at 8:45. So those people at 7:15, they're very rare, unless the real big fans will stay there.
Yeah,
they wouldn't have heard that. It'd be a new feature to them.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? The little tricks of the trade and one thing and another, because everyone, I think, assumes that you've got all these people feeding you information, and they don't realize that it's just you sat in a room, and you can dry up just as much as anybody else can in a conversation.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the only saving grace we've got is that big green button that says next.
Thank you. If in doubt, push next.
That's the one. That's the one.
If you've got nothing to say nothing at all.
All the technical terms coming through now, aren't they? Yeah.
3 tracks back to back. That's the one.
Yeah.
So another thing you've done is car share. For those that don't know from the radio, they probably recognise his voice from car share. How did you get into that?
Out of the blue, really. I got a call from it was a company in Manchester, and memories again going. But I can't remember the name of the company now. But they got in touch with me. They're a media company, and trying to think of the name of the company. But they got in touch with me and said, "Look, we've got a TV show. They're looking for a DJ character. Would you be interested in doing it?" So I says, "Yes, all right." I says, "Well, what do they need to do?" So I had to do a demo tape of like a Key 103. And a demo tape of what was like smooth radio. So I had to do like 2 sort of different types of voice. Sent them off, and lo and behold, they said, "Yeah, we like it. So can you come and do the recording?" So we was recording over 3 weeks. We did 2 episodes on the Monday. Following Monday, we did another 2, and then the following Monday. It was 2 episodes. This was for the first series. This was like in 2013. So I got that. And then at the end of the first recording, I said, what's this? What's the show anyway? Oh, it's Peter Kay's new TV show. And I went, what the hell?
It's his mate, you know. It's his mate.
Yeah.
Al's mate, Peter Kay.
So I went outside. As soon as you think you've got to go on social media, got a new TV show coming up with Peter Kay. Next thing I get a call, Kahlua, that's it, Kahlua Media in Manchester. Yeah. Got a call. Oh, can you take that social media thing off the post? Take it off straight away. All right, okay, yeah, take it off. So I couldn't really say anything. But I say it was recorded in 2013, and it was like 2015 when the general election was on. But it was 2 years. I'm thinking maybe it's not all that funny then if it's in a car. And it's just like, maybe it's not funny. So 2015, 2 years later, and people I spoke to said it should have been on by now. I said, yeah. So 2015, the elections were on. And they kept putting the program on at different times. One week it was on like on a Monday. Next week it was on a Wednesday. So I think it's a bit like Fawlty Towers. I think a lot of people didn't get into it the first series.
Right.
And then they repeated it again, but repeated it properly. It's like, so Monday night, 9 o'clock, it was on, following Monday, 9 o'clock. And then it just took off then. Yeah. But and then obviously we did a second series, and somebody told me Peter Kay only does 2 series. He won't do a third one, and lo and behold, he didn't. But I don't think the popular public wanted another episode to find out what happened. To Sean and Peter.
Right? Yeah.
So the audio that we didn't use in the first and second series, they used that, so I didn't get paid for the specials, the 2 specials.
I'm surprised that none of us actually tried dangling our feet over the edge there to say, well, we know what happened.
Oh, no, allegedly.
But I don't want suing.
Yeah, because the thing with Car Share, as much as you focus on, obviously, Peter Kay, and I can never remember her name, but the girl in
Charm.
And you concentrate on him. It's one of them. The second time you watch it, you'll catch other characters.
Different, yeah.
But
like
if
the signposts.
Yeah, and things like that. But if you listen, Rob's in the background and he's firing little one-liners and things like that. And it's sort of all times.
It's the way it times in, isn't it?
Yeah. It is, yeah. And you're thinking, it's that many layers. You've got to watch it several times to catch everything.
Yeah. So did you get to meet Peter?
Never met him. No, really? I never met him. No. I don't know if this is, I mean, I like to think it possibly is, but Peter Kay lives in Bolton. Rock FM used to go all over Bolton. We used to do road shows in Bolton. And whether he listened or not, I don't know. Whether that's part of the reason I got the job, because he did check everything out beforehand. So whether that he did get that. But there's one thing I used to do on Rock FM, and it was the misheard lyrics. And lo and behold, a few years later, Peter Kay's on stage and he's doing these misheard lyrics. I thought, that's mine. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I like to think it is.
Yeah,
that would be a brilliant claim to fame, wouldn't it? If that actually came out that's where he got it from.
Yeah,
because I know that Dave Spike used to do a similar kind of thing as well, didn't he? On the bike, he did. He used to take song lyrics. What was the one? I interviewed him at the Revolution, and he was. Hole of the Moon, and he was explaining he explained the lyrics on one thing or another, but he put his own little twist on it, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but watch it. It is hysterically funny. But Peter came, he was the reason that I got the daytime job at the Revolution. You asked, right, so you said, I'd like to think you listen, but you never know, and that's the thing with radio, you've got no idea who is listening to you. And I was doing the evening show, and I was getting all these pictures of ladies' body parts coming down. And Peter had just done Britain's Got the Pop Factor, which was Geraldine McQueen and one thing and another. And I watched it, and I didn't get it. And I slated it on this particular Friday night. I give it a right going over. And on the Monday morning, Penk had finished his show. He came upstairs. I was in the office doing just some prep work, and he said, I need a word with you. What were you saying about Peter Kay's new show? So I said, mate, it was hysterically funny, don't worry about it. He was on the phone to me for 2 hours on Sunday night, and I'm like, shit. And long story short, he basically turned around and thought that I was the funniest thing since sliced bread, which I don't get. I just do not understand that. And that I should be doing the breakfast show and not him, not Steve. So, which I do get. I understand that.
We all got that one. And listen, Steve.
Well, he agreed to come in and record a lot of shows for us, which he did, and one thing or another, but on proviso that I wasn't in the building. He didn't want to meet me because he didn't want to shatter the illusion of what he was listening to on the radio.
Yeah.
As it turned out, he would get up in the morning, listen to the tail end of Steve's breakfast show. He would then listen to the whole of my show. And then when I went off air, he'd go in the studio and do his own stuff, which I thought is probably the biggest compliment that I've ever received. It was fabulous.
So therefore, now you know why I picked you, Rob.
That's
and they never met
bastard.
you. And they never met you. It was you or Al. And then he thought, Al or Martin Emery.
Do you know what we should do? We should give him a call or get him on here or something.
You want to try and get him on, yeah.
I know.
Yeah. The people you've employed but never met.
That's it.
Yeah.
So who were you talked about influences before with Emperor Roscoe and people like that. Is there anybody that's still doing it now that you think, oh, wow, they are wonderful?
I think for longevity, I think Ken Bruce on Radio 2 is quite funny.
Yes.
Yeah. I think some people now
as well.
I do the pop quiz. Yeah, you're very good at them.
I
remember listening to you driving to Manchester because I used to work for a production company doing background music takes for Burton Group and all them.
All right.
And I used to travel from Chorley, and you were on the mid morning, and I used to think, listeners used to ask you questions, didn't they? And you used to come back straight away with the answer.
Yeah. Big Al Knows the Northwest. We did that one, and we did Big Al Gets the Horn. Did you ever hear that?
No, I didn't hear that one.
So I could tell you what car you were driving just by listening to the sound of the horn.
That's it. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yes. God damn, I'm good. Of course, it was all staged, but nobody knew.
I thought the big horn was. I'm sure I read somewhere that how they did it. Yeah, but yeah.
Do miss those days.
Yeah.
As for Ken Bruce, I think some people slate Steve Wright, but I think Steve Wright still for me is a legend.
Yeah, he still sounds fresh, don't he?
Yeah. Very good at the chatting and yeah. But it just annoys me now that on Radio 2.
Don't you think he breaks every rule though? He crashes most lyrics, don't he?
I know.
And sings over the songs. He does everything you'd want to do yourself.
Yeah.
Don't get away with.
Yeah. Well, I've been involved with it in the radio, and I'm doing this work for a social media and a company, and some of the people there, they listen on the radio. Why is he singing along to the songs? They don't like it, but I don't know whether that's sort of a radio thing or whether it's just for the average listener doesn't like it. But it just amuses me.
I've got to ask you this one, Rob, and please feel free to call me a dick and don't answer it. But do you have a poo song?
A poo song would be the one you mentioned before, the Waterboys, The Whole of the Moon.
Really? You're quick then?
Yeah.
You see,
he's like Grease Lightning.
You know why it is though? Why I call it a poo song?
Go on.
It's because when we're in the studio and maybe went downstairs to make a cup of tea and the record ended, the emergency tape kicked on, and the first song on the emergency tape was The Whole of the Moon by the Waterboys. I don't know about pooing, I did something else.
The funny thing is as well, if you're a regular jock on a station, and obviously you know what the emergency songs are, or the first song on the emergency playlist, doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing, you hear that song kick in, and it's just like an automatic reaction that you have to get in your car and drive as fast as you can to the station to find out what's gone wrong.
It is. It's like The Whole of the Moon now. It's still like you're thinking, oh.
I was actually referring to, if I needed a little bit of quality time alone, I
would be Queen Bohemian Rhapsody, wouldn't it?
You see, I'm more of Eagles, Hotel California.
Yeah, see, I like a good read, me. So mine's Dire Straits, Telegraph Road, full 15 minutes. Hey, I've got to do the word search and
crosswords. There we go.
What about? Have you ever refused to play a song?
Not that I know to. No. I mean, I was lucky enough when I worked for KFM that we had. It was weird because it's like the early days of scheduling music. We had boxes. So we had like an A box and a B box and a C box. And it's like the C was like the current new songs. The B was like the ones just going out. And the A's were like, obviously, the new releases and all that. So we were allowed to pick them. So I used to take the ones I didn't like, just put them to the back and just pick the ones I liked. Yeah. But as for song, I mean, sometimes you used to get to the top of the hour, you had like 2 songs to play. I'd always make the choice of the best one for me. But yeah, I'm never refused to play a song, as far as I know.
Yeah.
You see, I've got 2 minutes into a song and gone, yeah, I don't like that. It's coming off. And then got a right kicking for it afterwards when you got upstairs, you know. You can't do that.
I remember slating a Stevie Wonder song. Is it Me TMO something or ever? And it sounded like he banged it out in his bedroom on a Bontempi organ from the 70s. And I made the comment afterwards. I said, I bet he knocked that together when he was a kid on his Bontempi organ he got for Christmas. And Penky phoned me. Not everybody dislikes this. This is somebody's favourite song. And I remember emailing back going, well, I'd like to meet them then.
Have you ever?
That always used to bug me as well. You know, like when they get going for choosing the music, when the music was always chosen. When I worked for Magic, we used to have an American sort of a radio guru used to come along, and he used to do these music meetings. We used to go to these music auditoriums, it was, and they always used to play the songs that they wanted. So I said, well, play Tina Turner the best. Why does that always get tested? What about the other ones like Typical Male, or, you know, ones that never get tested? And if that song by Tina Turner is tested, that's bound to get on the playlist. But it's not the other one. So it used to bug me that way. But I still think that when you listen to songs and it stand out and it makes you think, oh yeah, remember where I was that particular time. I think that's what's the beauty of radio is now. It's just like listening to songs and Well,
it's not that. I mean, the presenter, I know when I was at Signal Cheshire, used to get, I think it was one personal music choice per hour.
Right.
And that's gone back a bit. 3 songs in a full show.
You had a personal choice?
Yes, I did, yes. But only if you had time to play it. And that was the key. And but it still allowed you to put a bit of your own personal touch to the music. And I think a lot of presenters should be allowed to put their own personal.
Well, if you think about it as a job, radio as a job, and they employ you because of who you are and whatever. If you're in business, they employ you because you do the sales, you get all the sales coming in, you know all the contacts. Yet radio, they don't do that. Radio, they just take you in. This is what you got. You're told what to play. And it's like a totally different sort of they're employing you, but for a totally different reason as to why they should be employing you.
They also try and tell you what to say as well, which infuriates the life out of me. So, you know, I tend to say what I want, and I tend to bust more logs than you've ever seen in your life. And that's why I keep getting sacked. But I don't care. Mate, Rob, I hate to draw a line under this, but time flies. And we have got less than a minute left. Yeah, absolutely. But what have you got going forward then? What can we expect from you?
It'd be nice to get another series of Car Share or something very similar. I've done a couple of film voiceovers for a couple of films which are coming out on Prime, the American films, which I got paid for as well.
Wow.
So they're coming out in April on Prime. I don't know what the names are at the moment. They had secret sort of names as they were recording them. So hopefully, and I'm quite busy with the voiceover side, doing a subdued American voice for American stations. How that's come about, I do not know. I got an email today of somebody that said, it's my dream to go to America, but please do these voiceovers for me. I don't live in America, I live in Chorley in Lancashire. But hey-ho, keep that secret.
Rob Charles, bless your cotton socks. Thanks for joining us today. And come back and see us soon, won't you?
Will do. Big Al, cheers. Owen, bye-bye.